Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Mike Armstrong podcast show. And this afternoon, we're joined by Tobias Young. I'm not sure where Tobias is calling from, actually, but from somewhere in the world. We'll find out in a minute. And Tobias Young has a fitness business called Tobias Young Fitness and a business coaching business called TNT Fit Pro Coaching. So just had to read my own handwriting then. How are you doing today, Tobias? You okay?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm in Brentwood, California, in the Bay Area.
Oh, there we are. I get a lot of people on from California. They must resonate with me somehow. I don't know why, but I think it's because I'm an Adonis, and everyone in California are an Adonises too.
That's what it is, man.
or I think actually, I wish I was in California on the beach, and they are in California on the beach. That's probably more like it.
Something like that.
Yeah, brilliant. So we connected on Facebook, and obviously I invited you onto the podcast because I can see there you're a fitness pro. I didn't know you as a business coaching pro as well, but that's good as well. That's all good stuff to talk about. But the first place I usually like to start with people, and actually the fitness pro thing that you're talking about may be the answer to this, but I wanted to know how the lockdown has been for you, really. And if you've done any particular pivoting in your business during that time.
Yeah, well, thank goodness that I've been online for the past 11 years because I was already ahead of the curve, which was great. It's terrible what's happened, but as far as for my business, it's actually multiplied. And it's probably tripled in business just because now people aren't working from the gym. They're not working out in the gyms anymore as much. And most of the gyms in California, at least, have been closed down, if not the whole time, then, most of the time. And just now there's a few gyms opening up, like the one in my area just opened up on the first, and it's only outside by appointment only. It's just, so it's not the same. No. So needless to say, there's a huge market for people that need to get in shape and, want to do it from home. And, the quarantine 15, I'm sure you heard of that, the Corona 15, where people pack on 15 pounds already, since this Corona happened. It's no joke, and it's causing a lot of problems for a lot of people. It's causing health problems. It's causing mental, physical, diabetes is, obviously going to be increasing as well. So people need help. And, that's why I help people out. That's what I do.
Yeah, brilliant. And I'm one of those, I'm on the reverse. I'm one of the fitness guys who decided to get fitter during this time rather than find the fridge. So I've been eating less and working out twice a day. So I'm actually, I feel as fit as I have done for a long time. But yeah, there's the one extreme or the other, isn't it? And my mentality was, if there's a virus out there that's going to potentially kill you, then is there a better time to get fit?
Yeah, obviously, because then it's going to, your immune system is going to be a huge part of this as well. And you want to have the best immune system possible. So you want to make sure that you're sleeping, you're eating right, and then you're working out and you're staying active. Not only to, keep you away from if you do get the virus, so that way it doesn't kill you, but also, you just want to feel good. Like that's the number one thing that people need to, want to do is they want to feel good more than looking good. They want to look good because they want to feel good from the inside out. Yeah. And so that's where it all resonates from.
Yeah, definitely. And I was a fit kid. I played all sports, and I was pretty good, fastest boy in junior school, and played a lot of rugby, won the league and cup double, first 3 years in a row, high school. The fourth year I wasn't playing and they didn't win the league and cup double. I got banned, I did, for an incident in a ruck. We won't go into that. But anyway, but moving on, so I was a very fit kid, but, being a very sort of hard-working professional, sometimes something's got to give. And so for a while I was getting out now and then. I've always been one who, if I can walk, I will, but you get stuck in the car a lot of the time. If I can go up the stairs, I will instead of in the lift. If I can, park the car out of town and walk in. I've always been a bit like that. And sometimes, though, going to the gym or going out for a ride or going for a walk or whatever used to be the thing I'd sacrifice to put those hours in to build my business or my career. But what I realized in lockdown is not only is the incentive to get as fit as you can because there's a killer virus out there, but also there's a lot of extra time in the day that you just wouldn't normally have because of transfers and traveling and all sorts of things. So I decided to utilize that time. So that was my motivation. And I think it's always massively important when you're getting fit or whatever to have the incentive or the motivation, the reason behind whatever it is that you're doing. I guess you probably work with people on that as well, because sometimes you can teach them whatever you want to teach them, but unless they're willing to learn and they got the right mentality, they don't necessarily take it in.
Yeah, mindset is a huge factor when it comes to this, because if you don't have the right mindset, no matter where you're at, no matter if you're busy or you're not busy, you're not going to do anything. You're going to be sitting on your rump, right? Yeah. So it's super important to have the right mindset. And then the accountability part, I think is one of the most underestimated portions of this, because people just need that swift little kick in the tail to get themselves going sometimes. And if they have a check-in and their coach is on their ass, like, look, get off your ass. It's time to, get your workout in, hey, how are you doing with your nutrition? Just like little things like that. If they know that they have to check in with somebody, then they're going to be on it. The moment that there's no accountability and you're just like free to do whatever you want, it's not like, some of them even don't know what to do. It's just that they don't do it if they don't have the accountability. So the accountability is a huge portion as well, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a big part of coaching. If you can get away without the accountability because you're used to managing yourself, then you can't get away with it without it. But there's a lot of people who do need that accountability. It's the same in business growth or business coaching and all of that. People need to be accountable to keep with their actions. With me, I don't necessarily need accountability so much because I'm a very determined person. So with me, it's all about mentalities. If I decide I want to do something, I'm 100% all in. And I do it. And if I decide I don't want to do it, I'm 100% all out. And don't matter how much accountability I got, can't make me do something I don't want to do. That's called being an alpha, being a person who's in charge of his own destiny and whatever. But most people need accountability because they know that they can cut corners and they can do this and do that. And if they can get away with it, they will. They'll talk themselves out of it in their own mind. And they need somebody to talk them back into it, in those situations.
Yeah, no, 100%. So you have the two realms. So you have the alpha males, like you're saying, or alpha people that they know that, hey, if they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it. But you know what? Sometimes there's that point too where they've come to pretty much a ceiling where they're working out every single day, but then their body is not changing the way that they would like. And so then in that point, it might be a good instance to actually get professional help where, hey, we've been there, we've done that. So we know the exact things that you're going to need to adjust in your programming, in your nutrition, that are going to make a huge difference and get you back to where you want to be. So sometimes people will use a coach because they've plateaued and they want to break past that, or they have new goals that they want to accomplish, or they want to train for something specifically. Yeah. Right. And others need it for the accountability. So it's kind of like, different people need it for different aspects, which is.
Exactly. And that's why you got to get the right fix. You always got to get the right fix for you and for what it is you're trying to achieve, I think. And that's the key, with the coach, and actually with acquiring a coach as well. Because it's like when you're a professional athlete, sometimes, like Andy Murray's a good example. I don't know if you know him, a tennis player, but he'll change his team around his situation and his life depending on what he's got going on, and he's sort of like the manager of his company, and depending on where he's at in his career, or if he needs more recovery, or he'll pick the right coach for the right situation. He's not frightened to change coach or management or team or whatever, because it's all about who you can work with at that time, and it's all about who you can work with for that goal or that purpose. And we all have different purposes and different goals, and sometimes you got to pick the right people for the right situation.
Yeah, 100%. So that's why it's really important to get a coach, especially that has a particular niche that they specialize in, because then they're gonna specialize in a particular area that you might need more help with. Some might work with more sports specific training. So if you're, an entrepreneur that sits on your butt all day, you're not going to want to work with somebody that specializes in working with basketball athletes, right? So you want to make sure that you get the right fit for what you're trying to accomplish. Business professionals, executives, entrepreneurs, they're going to have lifestyle changes that they need to implement that are going to be completely different from somebody who is a high level, athlete or bodybuilder or wants to do something in that regards too. So now it's it's making those simple changes in there that need to be. And then, it's taking it one step at a time. It's not trying to do everything all in the first week. That's where a lot of people also burn themselves out. Then they go on a super restrictive diet, and they go, working out twice a day, and then they go running, and then, they cut out all the carbs, and then they just burn themselves out because it's not sustainable. So you have to do something that's sustainable, and a good coach is going to work with you on creating sustainability and lifestyle changes as well.
Yeah, definitely. Because it's like I did a 75-day challenge called 75 Hard, hashtag 75 Hard. And it's like 5 things at once. But I needed to do that because I like to be challenged. So for me, it's not about doing one thing or another. Most people find the 5 things I had to do for 75 days challenging enough on their own for 75 days. But for me, they wouldn't be challenging enough, so I wouldn't take them seriously enough. Because it's a mental toughness challenge, the 75-day challenge is. It just uses a lot of fitness and diet and education, reading books and hydration and all that sort of stuff. It uses that. But some people do need to be challenged that way. But most people, it's about stepping stones as well. And actually, I probably wouldn't have passed the 75-day challenge had I not done a 3-month challenge myself in the lockdown before I did the 75-day challenge. So it got me, if you like, sharp enough so that I could sharpen up again even more. And that's what you said about, stepping stones. There was a stepping stone between, one lifestyle to a different lifestyle. And sometimes it's about, what you can manage. But again, it all depends. For me, I needed to do the big challenge just because I only get going, I only get motivated really when something is big. And that's like why lockdown has really motivated me in so many different ways, because I've seen it as the global historic event that it is and that we're living through. And most people actually haven't necessarily seen it for that. This is our World War II. This is what people are going to talk about for the next 50 years, 80 years. It's going to change psychology and business and economics, and it's going to have a massive effect on the world for a long time to come. And I can see that, but not everyone, most people aren't visionaries, so they can't see other than what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. They can't see the big picture.
Yeah, 100%. And it's, that's one of the things too, is this has just revolutionized not only how people need to, sometimes think about their own, bodies and selves, but also business, as because you work with, you speak to a lot of, executives and entrepreneurs, and like everybody has to pivot, and everybody, should, depending upon the business, but have an online component. If you are not online now, it's like you're lost and you're behind the times. Now it's like dinosaur ages. So, that's another thing too, is why I coach fit pros, because all the fit pros, they lost their businesses basically because they were training clients, and then just in one, quick instant, their entire business is wiped out unless they learn how to pivot and go online.
Yeah, definitely. And you said you've been doing that for 11 years. I've been doing what I do for 8 years. So similar sort of time span, and I was using the old and the new. I was doing a bit of 50-50. Yeah. So all I had to do was pivot half my business. Yeah. Whereas most people have to pivot their whole business. I only had to pivot half, but I didn't have to really pivot. I could just put 100% of my time into the half that I used to do before, because I'd already be doing it in half my time. I just had to turn off the tap of the old school networking and real world events and meetings, and turn on the new tap of switch that to Zoom, and then just carry on with the rest of your business as it was, But like you said, there's lots of businesses in what I was doing have had to pivot a lot. Lots of businesses in doing what you were doing. So now I've just guessed what you do with the Fit Pro. You're actually coaching the coaches. You're coaching the other fitness pros on how to pivot their business to online, like what you've done in the last 11 years. Oh, I think I've lost you for a moment, Tobias. Hopefully you'll come back soon. But whilst you're on, I'll fill the gap. So it sounds to me like that's what TNT Fit Pro Coaching is doing, is actually coaching the fitness pros on how to actually get their business into a more online model. So I'm going to leave it here, and we'll be joined by Tobias again when he comes back. So Tobias is back after his internet problems, so we'll just carry on. And what I was saying just before we've resumed was that I guessed then that what the TNT Fit Pro Coaching does is to coach other people who've lost their real world fitness businesses into being able to do an online version, like what you've been doing over the last 11 years. You're giving them that experience to get them to do that in their own businesses.
Yeah, 100%. So thankfully I was doing this also, for before this all happened, but I have, created the blueprint. And you know what, when I first started going online, I literally struggled. I struggled the first 3 or 4 years, like really bad, where, I couldn't figure it out. Then I invested in mentors and business coaches that kind of got me to that next level. And then from there, it took off. But there was those first years when I was trying to do everything on my own to figure everything out. And, I got caught up trying to work on websites and logos and things like that, on things that didn't necessarily bring in the income as opposed to what was really important. And so that's why now I have a whole framework that actually lays out everything that a Fit Pro would need to do in order to really step in and build a 6-figure business within like 90 days. So that's why it's such a blessing to be able to help out these Fit Pros, man, because I resonate with them. I was there, and I know what they're going through right now. Tough times.
So what's your, is it a funnel business? What's your, what do you help them with? Obviously, there always needs to be a lead source somewhere, a tap of water constantly running, which is the route you take them down for that.
Yeah. As far as what they build or how they find
what you help them to build, for them to build their business, if you like.
Yeah. So there's 9 key components that I help them out with, really. So I can kind of go into those a little bit. I mean, the first thing that we need to do is we work on their avatar, right? Because if they're trying to be generalists, they're really going to speak to nobody, as you guys know. I mean, having an avatar, knowing exactly the type of person that you need to work with, who your avatar is, where do you find your avatar, what exactly do they want fixed, is going to be so important, because then once you narrow down exactly who you're talking to, then they feel like they're being spoken to, as opposed to everything else, which is just a bunch of noise out there. There's everything going on. So if you're just a general personal trainer, you'll basically get swallowed up, like trying to be able to help everybody. You'll help nobody. The second thing is the authority builder process, right? So you have to be known as the authority in your space. So you have to build your brand, you have to build your positioning, and you have to build the know, like, and trust factor, which is super, super important, right? If they don't know you, if they don't like you, and if they don't trust you, they're not going to spend a high ticket price with you. Like, most of my coaches in my program between $1,500 and $3,000.
Oh, I think you paused again a minute. Let's see if Tobias comes back again this time, or whether he's a break. Yeah, no, you're back. Carry on. So yeah, you were just saying about the getting the authority, the branding, the positioning, etc. in your step 2. So what's any more you need to add to that, or what's the step 3?
Yeah. So then obviously you need to have the know, like, and trust factor. So the prospect has to know you, they have to like you, and they have to trust you in order to invest a high ticket, price with you, right? And then you have to have the social proof. So that's all the testimonials to help them get the social proof. And the third thing is more on the social media strategies, right? So then they develop the Facebook groups, the community, the messenger frameworks, the content creation that speaks directly to that avatar, right? And then the outreach process. And then the fourth thing is building the irresistible offer. So it's going to be the features, it's going to be the benefits, it's going to be the pricing structure. And we help them create their unique mechanism, which is going to be different from everybody else, every other coach out there, in order to deliver the result, the one result that their avatar needs fixed. Then we go into the enrollment mastery, where it's pre-qualifying the prospects through an application process, finding their hot buttons, their pain points, and then empowering them to purchase. Then we go into the mindset, which is the daily rituals, the successful habits, the visualization, and then the whole delivery. So there's the signature program, right? So you have to have the training platform, you have to have the app, you have to have the program design, you have to have the mindset component. You want to have the nutrition and workout delivery. And then we get into tools and automation. So you don't want to be working in your business all the time. You want to work on your business. So you want to automate a lot of the small things that you don't need to be doing. So whether it's using a CRM, an email autoresponder, calendar scheduling, funnels, all that. So we basically hand them and build those out and show them how to build those out on their own. And then the last part is the scalability, right? So being able to go from a 6-figure business, which they've created, into a multi-6-figure business. And that's getting people to help out. That's hiring a team, right? So it might be an assistant coach to help out with some of the programming, might be a, sales rep or multiple sales reps if they want to help out in that regard, launching Facebook ads, getting messenger campaigns going. So it's super critical to have a whole foundation and map, and we basically hand them that, done, completed. So it's really a no lose situation in that realm. So yeah. I love it.
Yeah. So it sounds like a very comprehensive program. So well done on that. It sounds really good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're getting some really good results from some of the Fit Pros. So
yeah, and it is although you are niching it at the Fit Pros, if in fact it sounds like exactly a process that other people in some other sectors could also follow. It's not just it's not whether you want to expand out on that or not, but it would that process would work for other businesses who are physical, like I'm trying to think now, maybe like magicians, entertainment, that sort of thing, event, people in the event sector, because that's really dried up, similar to fitness. There's a few of those sort of sectors as well. So, what you could potentially do, I'm always into strategies and stuff, yeah. And because when you're in a business, you don't always think about every angle and see things from above and stuff. And you obviously do that. You do take yourself out and look at it from above and that, because I can tell by the depth of your process, if you like, yeah. Mm-hmm. But if you could find, for example, somebody who does the same thing for magicians or event people or cocktail bar workers, yeah, and those sort of things, you could actually recruit them, take them through the process, get them to then take their industry through the process, and all of a sudden you've got 7 streams of the process, yeah, with 7 people or 6 people under you, bringing a load of people up through their process. How does that sound?
Yeah.
Thought about
that? Well, I love just being able to really narrow this down and being able to really target. So, I mean, my slogan is being able to help a Fit Pro get their first 10K months within 90 days. So that's literally like what I do is I help them build 10K months within 90 days. And then from there, continuation program where they build out multi-6-figure business in there. But yeah, the frameworks can be like carried over into so many other businesses, because look, every successful business has an avatar. Like you have your demographic.
Well, most of that process is in fitness. Most of that process, you don't need to know fitness. It's a business process. It's a business coaching process, yeah? There's the bit where your expertise would come in is understanding the avatar, is the experience of what that avatar's issues are, blah, blah, blah. There's some tailorability in that, yeah? But the process is the process. And actually, if you picked people like you, like older magicians experience who've got the network, clowns, right? Anyone. These people who've got the networks, but they haven't got the system experience, and they haven't got the avatar building experience, and they haven't got the marketing strategies and platform experience, yeah? You could actually teach them, I'm thinking about older clowns who run like the Clowning Association, older magicians who run the those sort of people. I know loads of people do what you're doing themselves, but not necessarily coaching the next generation through. And there's a load of people who are in that sector, these older 40 to 60-year-old clowns in the entertainments and cocktail people or whatever, who I think if you could teach them your process, they would have the contacts then to bring their industries in. Even if you was just mentoring your process, so actually not hands-on in it, I think that would work really well for you.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great idea, being able to just take the business aspects and be able to plug those into other type of businesses, especially coaches and consultants. Like if you're a coach and consultant, this business is going to be money for you, right?
Yeah.
This whole process for you. But then obviously, yeah, you can carry it out into so many other, realms in there too. But coaches and consultants using this would be able to just take off and explode.
Yeah, good.
So
And do you deliver your courses? Are they all delivered through like a platform? Are they all delivered like a Pantheon type thing with a membership subscription, or is it all online through a website, or how does that look? Just I'm interested
yeah,
myself with that. That's a question for me.
yeah. So it's a 12-week program that they go through, right?
Yeah.
During the 12-week mentoring process, there's 4 coaching calls per week. So Tuesday, we have one on attracting your ideal client. On Wednesday, we have one on converting your ideal client, the conversion process, the sales process. And then on Thursday is the delivery, all the deliverables, right? And on Fridays, what we do is we bring in an outside guest speaker. So we bring in industry experts. It might be Facebook ads, it might be YouTube ads, it might be somebody that specializes in the training platform, email marketing, copywriters, like that just give like amazing outside perspective that are, industry specific experts. They come in. And so that's why, these fit pros, when they come in here, they're blown away and they're like, oh my God, this is like so much more than I've ever thought. And then there is a membership site, which has all the modules, like more than enough, obviously, to be able to walk them step by step through the entire process that they need to go through. And then there's the content, right? So I basically have templates so I have 21 years of fitness industry experience, right? 11 of it has been, online and in person. But so all these templates of everything that they need to have are basically like, here you go. This is, and all the content, like all the emails are done for them. All they have to do is basically edit it. So it basically teaches them and shows them right off the bat. And then from there, they learn how to do it themselves. And so then they're self-sustainable, because obviously they don't want to just, live on templates the whole time, because then they're never going to learn how to do it themselves. So, that's why we have all the coaching process. We have a Facebook group community that's just on fire. Everybody is sharing their wins every single day, helping each other out. And it's just like, people don't want to leave because of the community. They buy into the program because they need the help, but then they stay because the community. It's really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah. Sounds fantastic. So sounds like you're a little bit further down the line in something I'm looking to build, which is sort of more like a university or an academy, for entrepreneurs. You're actually already doing a similar sort of thing, but just in the fitness space, because I want to cover the whole entrepreneurship space.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, that could be powerful. That'd be good, man.
Yeah. Because my avatar is entrepreneurs, and so I am quite wide in my avatar, all entrepreneurs. But really, it's the young entrepreneurs who want to learn, some of the stuff that you just don't learn these days, old school way of doing stuff, sales, marketing, telesales, all that sort of stuff that the young generation have missed out on, and they're all too busy TikToking and text messaging and stuff, and they need to learn some of that old school stuff. And then the older, entrepreneurs who need to learn all the new school stuff, they're all going through that phase now because they realize that some of those old skills don't work anymore. You need a combination of both, really. You need to be able to, as you get bigger, you need to be able to meet people and shake their hands and, look them in the whites of the eyes and, have that gravitas in the meeting to build that trust for doing big deals. But for doing little deals and medium-sized deals, you just need to be able to have a funnel system or, whatever. There's lots of different ways of building, your business and attracting clients and closing them and getting them into your business. So I think, for me, it sounds to me that you got your 9 process. I'm actually still working on mine at the moment. I've got the success formula, which is a 7-step process of success, 7 pillars of success. I call it the streams formula, and it stands for systems, technology, relationships, efficiency, action, marketing, and sales. Yeah, which is pretty much your 9 steps in your process covers most of those things. Yeah. They're just done as 9 steps, if you like, nine things to do, So the reason why I think it would lend to other people, because it's ultimately when I built my process and my system, it'll be based on my experience and yours is based on your experience. But, you know, building businesses is very similar. You know, businesses are very similar. The structure of businesses are very similar. Yes, they can differ for sectors and different things, but, you know, ultimately, you know, you need a lead source, you know, you need a brand, you need, you know, a conversion technique, you know, you need an upsell, you need longevity, you know, most of what businesses need, they're all very, you know, they are similar. So that's why I was just saying to you, you know, I'm looking to build one myself, but, you know, I would suggest that your process, I just wanted to open up in your mind the fact that actually you may have targeted on fitness people, but there's a lot of people need to learn that process, you know?
Yeah. And
So, yeah,
yeah,
go on.
I was gonna say, I'll tell you, like, really, like, because I've gone through a lot of different business mentors, and I'll tell you the one that really opened my eyes to this whole process is the Fletcher method. His name is Aaron Fletcher. He does an amazing job of, you know, teaching you through. He has his own 9-step process that he teaches that's, you know, really into helping coaches and consultants and everything too. So, you know, if you ever want to check out one of his programs, he's a great mentor. Right now, I just started working with Taki Moore and his Black Belt Academy. So I'm super excited about that as well. So I think mentorship is huge, right? Because the moment that you stop learning and having mentorship is like when you start regressing. So I think in order to keep moving forward is like, you know, you need, at least I thrive in mentorship, and it keeps my fire burning, man. So I'm super excited about that. But I got to give some credit to the Fletcher method for him, you know, teaching. I was in his program for a year and a half, his mastery program. So
I've been on a Grant Cardone mentorship program, but
okay.
I've met Grant Cardone, and I haven't paid him any money, but Grant Cardone is living the life I want, and he's 20 years older than me. So basically, he's my mentor. He's my blueprint. He's living the life that I know I should be living, and I got 20 years to do it or less. You know, if I do it in 20 years, I'll be doing the same thing Grant is now. If I do it in 10 years, I beat him 10 years to the punch.
There you go. Perfect.
But yeah, you know, it is good to have a mentor. He's not my only mentor, by the way. I got lots, like, you know, so I study the people who are the best people on the planet in the areas I want to be the best person on the planet in. Because if you're going to learn off someone, you might as well learn off the best, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
So yeah, I've listened to and read 14 books during lockdown, you know, physical books or audio books. Mostly audio. I like to listen while I'm exercising, when I'm out on the bike or whatever, like, you know, because I like efficiency is one of my 7 pillars of success. You know, if you could do 2 or 3 things at once and not lose the quality of those things that you're being done, then that's better than having to do those 3 things at separate times and losing out on so much time.
Yep. There you go. Yeah. I mean, time is so valuable. So you have to just like dive in. And, you know, when I'm working out, I don't listen to music most of the time. Most of the time, what I'm doing is I'm listening to mentorship and training and podcasts and higher learning activities, because I'm constantly feeding my brain. Like, it's for me, that drives me. That's my workout music. So every once in a while, you know, I do. But
yeah, I listen to Brian Tracy. I do, and you know, the psychology of sales, the psychology of success. You know, how to millionaire success patterns, all those sort of things. I listen to stuff that's going to motivate me, and I mean, when I'm exercising, I don't even notice it's happening.
Yeah,
because you just miss it. It just happens like that.
Then you don't want to stop working out because you're like, man, I'm so into this podcast, I can just keep going, or so into this thing. So yeah,
exactly. What are you listening? What have you got? What are you listening to? Fletcher, or what sort of audio are you listening to when you're working out?
Yeah. So recently I've been obviously Taki Moore. So, I mean, he has so many different videos. So I'm listening to a lot of his stuff. Yeah. In the past, there's some, you know, top, you know, Fit Pro mentors that I've listened to. One of them is Sterling Griffin. His Life Changer Academy is really, really good. Rachel Bell, she's another Fit Pro mentor. You know, she does some really good things as well. And then, you know, Traffic and Funnels have their podcast, which I really enjoy. Clients on Demand have one. Then there's so many other, you know, sales and different type of podcasts that I have, but those are some of the main ones that really stick out in my head right now.
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, it sounds. I'm a bit more deep dive in the sales space, and you're a bit more deep dive in the fitness space. But we're doing a similar sort of thing.
Yeah, and it's not just fitness. I love like just business
Yeah,
in general, right?
yeah,
So anything, because it carries over. Like I know I've been in the fitness, for a long time. I've been in the cover of 6 magazines. I've been I'm an IFB pro. I've been a personal trainer since 1999. But so there's always more to learn. But
yeah,
really now my key focus is business, and I love it. And it's just like the more you learn, the more you don't know. And
yeah.
then the more you realize that, oh my God, there's so much more to learn. And then you just dive in, and it's like swimming into a huge ocean, and just having fun. So now I'm swimming with the dolphins, man.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's it. I discovered the personal development space in
Yeah.
2017, and I'm like immersed heavily into it now. And like you say, the more you learn, the more you understand, the less you know, and the more you want to keep learning. So it's once you switch that, I've been a lifelong learner all my life. I was doing my own personal development, which was just me personally improving. I've been in sales all my life, and it's always about how can I be better this year than I was last year? How can I be
Yeah.
better today than I was yesterday? How can I make more money this week than I made last week? You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's always
Yeah.
that mentality, and that's because I come from a sports background as well. And when you play a lot of sports, it is always about how we can keep improving, how we can get better, how we can win more, how we can win even more. It's that sort of mentality. So yeah, a lifetime of learning will turn you into a Jedi.
Yeah. 100%. I did sports all growing up too, man. So I got that competitive spirit. So I'm like,
Yeah,
bring it. Let's go. Let's
I
get
love it.
things done.
I compete with myself, but I do compete with others as well, but not really friendly. But it's good to be. Legends are created in the sports world by two great teams having a go at each other, or two great people. One on its own cannot be as good as two competing.
Yes. 100%. They need each other. You look at any of the old NBA greats, man, and
Yeah.
they like have that one or two other opponents that they have to be better than. So they just spend that extra time dribbling shots
Yeah.
and everything in there too. Michael Jordan wouldn't be the same without some of the key people that he had to go against.
Yeah, it was the
So
same as people like, I'm a big boxing fan. People like Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson and all the greats in boxing. They always had a great opponent, and they always had
yeah,
a trilogy of fights or whatever. That's what made it. The fact that in the UK it's Chris Eubanks and Nigel Benn. They used to just slug it at each other So it's just everyone used to the two warriors in battle. You can't get better than that.
yeah, I'm a huge UFC fan. I'm a Mike Tyson fan. I always will be. But yeah, with UFC, it's the same kind of thing too. Sometimes they have the trilogies, and like there was just the Chris Cormier and Daniel Cormier and Stipe Miocic, however you pronounce his last name. But they were battling. Then finally Stipe got the last two fights, and so then Daniel called it a career. So like once he lost that drive and realized that he's not going to be the top dog, then he hung up the cleats. So
Yeah, well, there is talk about Conor McGregor and that Khabib or Khabib or
Khabib,
whatever it is. Yeah,
yeah,
that was.
Khabib,
I wouldn't mind seeing another one of them as well. That could be. If Conor was to win the next one, which I don't know whether he would, because that Khabib is a animal. He's a beast. Wrestling bears since he was a kid and stuff. But if Conor was to win that one, then that's the sort of thing where that gets to that legendary status then, where they have a third one then, and
yep,
that's what you need. You need two real top warriors to really give you what the sport needs, what everyone wants, which is that real epitome top end battle,
yeah, I love it, and that's what makes it great. I'm a big 49ers fan. I'm from the Bay Area here,
Yeah.
and I remember back in the day it was the 49ers and the Cowboys, and
they're the two teams that, as a Brit who has never really been into American football, because I was into rugby, the one without all the pads, when we just run at each other, so, and it's not so stop-start, it just keeps going. Because the NFL just annoys me a little bit, because I'm just not used to it. And also the stop-start,
yeah,
But I do watch it. I've watched a bit of it, late night and that. But the teams I remember from growing up, especially, was the Cowboys and the 49ers.
yeah, yep, me too. Yeah, back in the 90s,
Yeah.
and even dipping into the 80s, and just recently it's more been the Seahawks and 49ers and stuff. But yeah, I love it. I love the rivalries, man. Makes
Yeah.
it great.
And the Green Bay Packers is the ones I seem to see more lately. They seem to be quite a lot, when I stick it on the Super Bowl. I watch the Super Bowl every now and then. I love sport. I do. So it's just, it'll come on occasionally on British TV. But yeah, so I'll watch most sports. But, obviously the sports I played when I was a kid are the ones, you grow up loving, and the best people I like to get on my podcast are, ex-rugby players, Welsh rugby players, or, athletes, British athletes and that. They were slim picking back in the 80s and 90s. But, since London 2012, we've been battling on the world again on a sports
Yeah.
basis. And we have like people like Andy Murray at the tennis, Lewis Hamilton at the Grand Prix, so us Brits, we tend to be better at sports with equipment.
Okay.
Like rowing and cycling and race cars and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, there's certain ones where, you kind of grow up watching in America, and then there's certain ones in the Brits grow up watching, and some of them are different and some of them kind of intertwined, but either way, they both have that same drive where it's just like trying to be the best, and you learn from that. And I think when you grow up in sports, you're going to grow up learning so much more discipline than you will when you don't. It's just something gets ingrained in you because you learn how to practice, go to practice when you don't want to, go to practice, you got to train, you got to eat like this, like when you don't want to. And then you just make it where it doesn't affect you anymore, and you keep working. And I think that's what creates that same mentality that entrepreneurs have, right? Because you have to get in that grind. Entrepreneurship is a grind. Like, you're going to have the times when you are feeling like, you're sky high, you just sold, maybe 5 deals, and you're like, I am unstoppable. I'm going to be the next millionaire, billionaire, whatever it is. Right. And then there's times when you go into a funk and you lose your motivation, and, you're not sleeping, and you're just thinking about giving it all up. Right. It's just those things. And the ones who are mentally strong are the ones that are going to keep crushing and push past and really be, the best entrepreneurs, because it's just a long game. As long as you stick it out and you learn the processes and everything like that, you're going to be successful. But you have to get past that mental game. And that's what I think sports teaches you is that mental game on pushing through.
Yeah, well, what they teach in psychology, and you see them, all the sports people, when they get interviewed, they all talk about this, which is exactly the same as what I think is the recipe for life and the recipe for success in business and entrepreneurship, is don't get carried away with the highs and don't get too far down with the lows. You want to be consistent, and just, if you keep going the process, keep working the process, keep working the plan, keep improving, keep getting better. Don't think you're, Johnny Bollocks when things are going great, and don't think it's the end of the world when things are down. Just keep going, be consistent, and if you stay in the queue long enough, you will get to the front of it.
Yeah, 100%. So I agree with that.
Yeah, definitely. What sports do you like doing when you're not coaching people?
So I started off when I was younger. I got into soccer. I got into baseball. And then I transitioned when I was in junior high, got into wrestling. So I wrestled in junior high and in high school, along with baseball in junior high. And then after that, I transitioned into football. I played football at Santa Rosa Junior College for a couple of years. Then I had some injuries there. From there, I got into bodybuilding. And from 2002 all the way until 2017, I competed both in bodybuilding and then physique, which is like a slimmed down version of bodybuilding in there. And with that, the discipline in order to compete is crazy. If you can compete at a high level in that type of competition, having to diet super strict and get up and do cardio twice a day and train, work out 1 to 2 times a day, and be able to, go to family gatherings and not feel like you're, not give in, right? If you can do that, you're going to have a strong mindset where you can push past anything else. And so I think that taught me so much. But bodybuilding, physique. And then I turned pro in 2015, so I'm an IFBB pro. But then I retired in 2017, and I did jujitsu, and a long time ago, back when the first UFC started to come around, I started training over at Ken Shamrock's Lions Den. He's one of the pioneers of the UFC. And then I got into, I trained over at a spot called Dean Lister's Academy, and those were in San Diego. And so I did that for a few years, and then I stopped about 18 years. And literally just a couple of years ago, I started back up because I would drive past this jiu-jitsu academy down the street, and I would see it every single day. And it would just remind me of like, man, you used to be really good to my just go in there. So one day I went in there and, I got hooked, and, it's Ricardo Barros, and I met him, and then we became really good friends too. And so I've been training jiu-jitsu, but obviously I can't do, jiu-jitsu with everything, right now, everything's shut down. But those have been, the main sports. But, my favorite ones to watch are definitely, football and UFC. Like those are the two that's like I can't miss. Can't miss a Niners game, and, UFC is hard, to miss.
Brilliant. Yeah. That mentality you said, built up over all that time, but, because you have got to really, manage yourself. You got to have like no inch of fat anywhere on your body, to win those things and to compete and stuff. So, you really got to work with the routine and do a fine art and stuff. And so, it does push you beyond your limits, and then you reassess where your limits are, and it allows you to build up a better mental strength and resource of where those limits are. Because I understand that, because I started out in sales at like 15. I was entrepreneurship 11 to 15, but my life wasn't really on it. But, from 15 to 40, where I am now, really, even though I've been self-employed for the last 8 years, but before that, I was in a 20, 25, however long it was, sales career. And that was like, every month you've got to hit target, because there's always high pressurized sales jobs. If you're not hitting your target, you're fired, sort of thing. So you're constantly living under that, pressure, if you like. And the same, it takes you beyond limits, and it pushes you, into areas that, you didn't think you were capable of, but you keep at it. And then that gives you the perspective that actually you can do anything. If I can do this for 25 years, or I can push myself through the pain barrier and just keep going, you start realizing, I think it's good. If you really want to push yourself, really want to excel, it's good to be out running when no one else is. It's good to be, like, I've done 580 odd podcast episodes since April, the end of April. Most people do one a week. Some do one a day. Some do 3 a week, whatever. My target at the moment is 10 a day. I like to be places that other people aren't. And that's the key. That's the key to mentality. If you really want to be the best, you want to success, whatever that looks like to somebody, you've got to push yourself beyond borders and barriers and do things other people haven't done.
Yeah. Wow. You have the Gary V mentality, my friend. You are just a beast.
Yeah. Well, I would say I'm a cross between Grant Cardone and Gary V, but I'm a little bit more sophisticated because I'm a Brit, and I used to sell high-end IT solutions to corporate sales companies. So to boards in 10 million plus turnover businesses. And my department dealt with I had 17 people that dealt with the 10 million plus turnover businesses. And me and my top salesperson used to deal with the top end of those prospects. So the real high end corporate companies. I used to sell to people like Reebok, Northern Rock, banks, building societies, big global companies, etc. So I would say I'm a little bit more sophisticated than Grant Cardone and Gary V. Grant Cardone was a car salesperson, then a trainer, but then he went into the corporate world in his training. And Gary V started out as a retailer, a wine salesperson, and just mastered marketing. I do the same sort of marketing that Gary V does, and I've been doing. He's just in America, so he got there a bit quicker he hit the tipping point quicker than I would, because the numbers in America are just greater anyway. They're larger numbers. Plus also Gary started out in selling wine, so he was B2C, whereas I'm B2B. The B2B marketplace in the UK is 4.4 million businesses. The B2C marketplace in the UK is 80 million. So it's about 4 to 80 is about 200 times the size, 200% bigger marketplace.
Yeah.
If I was doing what I've been doing for the last 10 years, I've been using social media for 20 years, LinkedIn, but I was doing it in the B2C space, I probably would have hit the tipping point that Gary V have hit in America quicker. But I'm in the B2B space. So that B2B space was it wasn't as technical savvy as the B2C space, because they were used to doing telesales and field sales and the old traditional way of doing business. So it's taken something like this pandemic now to really pick up that pace. And so since this pandemic, my pace has been flying. So I am going to be the next big thing, you know, in that space, in the Grant Cardone, Gary V, you know, Brian Tracy. This is my space. This is where I'm going to own. And I tell people on the camera I'm going to own this space because I'm putting it out there to the universe and letting people say, well, challenge me on whether I'm going to do it or not, because I know I'm going to do it, you know?
Right on. Yeah.
So I am the British, you know, you might look at it as a Gary V. I look at it as I am the Mike Armstrong. I'm the only Mike Armstrong, you know?
There we go. Yeah.
But all of the big players on the globe, this is why this has inspired me to do what I'm doing, is all the big players on the globe are all American. And I can't take that. I can't handle that.
There we go.
I'm a Brit. I'm a Brit, and I'm a champion Brit, and I'm a winning Brit. So I'm not going to let that happen.
And you're an alpha male, and you will not settle for anything less but number one. So
well, it's the only place to aim for, isn't it? There's no point aiming for anything other than number one. Otherwise, you're fooling yourself or kidding yourself that, or you're telling yourself you're not good enough for number one. Whereas, you know, the way I look at it is you've got to be good enough for number one.
Yeah, 100%, Mike.
Yeah, definitely. So, you know, I recognize, you know, you're in the same sort of space. You're looking to become the number one in the fitness space. I can tell that. I can see that, you know. Again, you know, it takes one to know one, as they say, you know. I understand competition. I understand mentality. I understand mental toughness. I understand, you know, once you've gone and competed and done those years and years of training and getting yourself into a sensei level in the fitness world, you're not going to settle for second or third or 10th or anywhere else. You're going for the top spot.
That's right. Nothing to it but to do it. Let's go.
Exactly. So I'm going to enjoy watching you on your journey, and hopefully you'll enjoy watching me on mine.
Absolutely. I was going to say, and you as well, my friend. So let's rise to the top, my friend.
And I'm all about helping people as well, because I played individual sports, fastest boy in school. Like I said, running. I also played team sports as well. And I know teamwork makes the dream work and is more fun, you know, because you can have a beer with your team. You can't have a beer on your own. Well, you can, but it's not as good.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm all about collaborating. I'm all about helping each other. So, you know, this is the reason why I get people on my podcast, on my YouTube channel, because I want to grow by helping them grow. And I'm all about, like, let's connect on socials. Let's connect on LinkedIn. If I see any of your content, I'll like it. I'll share it. I'll comment on it. If you can do the same with me, let's just help each other get to where we want to get to.
Yep. Let's do it, Mike. I'm all for it, my friend.
Great. Just for my audience and my listeners, because I got to shoot soon. I got a 5 o'clock. But just for my audience and listeners, what's the best way for them to keep in touch with you and connect?
Yeah, best way, you know, Facebook is really good. So if you go to Tobias Young, I'm on Facebook. If you go to Instagram, it is Tobias Young and the number 1, Tobias Young 1. LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn as well, Tobias Young. I don't get too much into YouTube. I do have a YouTube channel, so I will start to promote that. But right now, I have some good videos on there, but I haven't been promoting it. But it's the Tobias Young. So if you want to jump in there too, take a look.
I'll connect everywhere I will on you, because you know, I'll give you a bit of a list. And have you got a podcast, a fitness podcast or a coaching podcast?
Not yet, my friend, but I'm sure that'll be in the future.
You need to set one up.
Yeah. Yep.
It'd be a great way for you to attract that avatar of yours. You know, the pro fitness people who are all listening to content while they're working out. You know what that's like, yeah?
I do.
You want to be in that content. You want to be in that space, because if you're not in that space at the moment, someone else is.
Yeah, I agree with you, man.
Yeah, so if you need any help with that, let me know. Okay,
I appreciate it, Mike, and I appreciate you for having me on, man. It's been fantastic, and you know, everybody out there too. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Also, website is tobiasyoungfitness.com if you ever want to jump in there if you need help with anything, or TNT Fit Pro Coaching.com. And thank you so much for having me, Mike. It's been an absolute blast, my friend.
Brilliant. I've enjoyed it too. It's been great. And what I would add to that is I haven't actually seen Tobias's program, but I've heard about it. And it sounds like a fantastic program. So if you're a fitness pro that's struggling to earn some cash at the moment, and you need to, to invest in your career and your long-term wealth, if you like, and health, because your health will deteriorate if you haven't got the wealth, then get on to Tobias's courses, his Fit Pro Coaching courses, because I can tell that Tobias will be able to turn your life around. So
Yeah.
that's an endorsement from me, Tobias, and wish you all the best. Have a great day, okay?
All right. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, everybody.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Right, there's nothing else left for me to say other than have a great day. I know I will. And thanks very much for listening. Cheers. Bye-bye.